Hello and welcome. Today we are diving deep into the world of traditional Chinese colors. And let me tell you, this is about so much more than just shades on a chart. These colors, they're like poems, they're stories. Honestly, they represent a totally different way of seeing the world. Okay, let's get right into it. So, to give you a taste of what I mean, let's just start with a question. What color is this? Incense burners, purple smoke. I mean, you're not going to find that in a paint store catalog, right? It's a name that immediately creates a whole scene in your head, a mood, an experience. This is the kind of magic we're going to explore. Now, not all the names are quite so abstract. Some are just beautifully direct, completely tied to the natural world. Take this color, for example, bamboo green. It's exactly what it sounds like, that steady, elegant green of a bamboo stalk. It's grounded, it's familiar, you get it instantly. But then you get a color like this one, stolen blue. How amazing is that? The name comes from an ancient text that says autumn birds look like they've stolen or borrowed a little piece of the clear sky for their feathers. So it's not just light blue, it's the feeling of a crisp, perfect autumn day. So you've got this whole spectrum, right? From the super straightforward to the deeply poetic. And that kind of begs the question, how does a system like this actually work? Is there some kind of logic behind these thousands of incredible names? Well, the answer is a big yes. And it's a system built on a foundation that's thousands of years old. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with 5 cardinal hues. And this isn't just a color palette. For the ancient Chinese, this was a way to organize the entire universe. It all kicks off with the 5 primary colors, or hues. You've got azure, red, white, black, and yellow. But here's the thing. These were never just colors. You have to think of them more like foundational concepts, each one packed with deep symbolic meaning that was tied to the very fabric of the cosmos. And this table, wow, it just perfectly illustrates how deep this system went. Each color was linked to a direction, a season, and even a mythical beast. So azure was east, it was spring, and it was the azure dragon. Red was south, summer, the vermilion bird. It's like this cosmic map that shows how color wasn't just for decoration, it was a core language for understanding your place in the world. So, if they started with just 5 core colors, how on earth did they end up with thousands of these poetic shades? Well, for our next section, let's look at how they did it. They just turned to the world around them and started unlocking nature's most colorful secrets. The palette just exploded by using, everything you can imagine. Dyes and pigments came from plants like madder root and indigo. They were ground up from minerals like cinnabar, which gives you this brilliant vermilion red. And yep, they even came from animals, like using crushed seashells for a super permanent white, or even insects for a deep red dye. One of the most stunning and, frankly, tragic examples of a color from an animal source comes from the art of Dian Kui. This was this incredibly delicate craft where artisans would inlay the vibrant, iridescent blue feathers of kingfisher birds onto metal, usually for things like hairpins and jewelry. The color you got was this electric, shimmering blue that no paint or pigment could ever replicate. It was breathtaking. But this beauty came at a really terrible cost. The feathers were often plucked from the birds while they were still alive, and they'd die. Because of that cruelty, the practice is now banned, leaving behind these objects that are just exquisitely but controversially beautiful. All right, let's jump in our time machine and travel way, way back. We're going to see how these colors were used on some of China's most ancient artifacts. We're talking the Pre-Qin era, so over 3,000 years ago. Okay, get ready for this because this slide reveals a huge misconception that most of us have. When you think of ancient Chinese bronzes, you picture that classic green-blue color, right? That patina? Well, that's not what they looked like originally, not even close. They were actually a brilliant, shining gold color. They were called Jin, which means auspicious metal. That green we see today, that's the color of time itself. Just look at this masterpiece. This is the Fuhao Owlzun, a ritual wine vessel from the Song Dynasty. It's one of the most famous bronzes ever found. Look at its shape, its power, and now look really closely at its colors. So after being buried for more than 3,000 years, that original golden surface reacted with the soil and the moisture, and it developed this rich, beautiful patina. We're literally seeing layers of history. This specific shade of blue-green is known as verdigris, a classic color born from oxidized copper. And you can also spot these patches of a deep, earthy brown. And of course, this color has its own wonderfully descriptive name, chestnut shell. So the artifact we see today wasn't just made by artisans, it was painted by thousands of years of chemistry. And this traditional color system gives us the poetic words to describe it. So what this all boils down to is a crucial point. This isn't just about different ways of naming colors. It's about a fundamentally different philosophy of how we even perceive and talk about the world around us. I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the right, you have the technical, clinical data for that brown color we just saw, an RGB value. It's precise, sure, but it's cold. It tells you nothing. Then on the left, you have the name, chestnut shell. That tells you about texture, about autumn, about nature. It gives the color a soul. And that's really the heart of it all. This is a system where colors aren't just abstract values on a screen. They are living experiences. They are tied directly to the real world, to plants, animals, the sky, and to that intangible world of memory, poetry, and just raw human emotion. As the source material for this so beautifully puts it, these colors are the lens through which Chinese people see the world. Think about that. A color isn't just something you see. It's a way of seeing. It's a shared cultural reference point, and it's just overflowing with thousands of years of meaning. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. You know, in our world of Pantone numbers and hex codes, what if we gained in all that precision, but what have we maybe lost in poetry? It really makes you wonder, what are the stories that our colors tell? Thanks for watching.